Hello, hello, hello. What's up? So I've got quite a lot of new setup here that I don't normally have. So there'll be a certain amount of experimentation. Anyway, welcome to Rider Confidence Basics Part 2. So Part 1 was yesterday when the main thrust of the broadcast for Rider Confidence Basics is to see where your risk perception is. Not your risk assessment, risk perception. Because if your risk perception is skew with, if you're going to see more danger than there really is, then you're going to have a hard time being confident on your horse. So there we are. We're going on to part 2 now, which was initiated. Hello, everybody. Just give me a little hello, if you would, just to let me know that the audio is working fine. I'm using this Sennheiser mic, which I don't usually use. About halfway through, I'm going to take it off and see if there's any change in the audio. So, hello, Katie. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming, everybody. Oh, I don't know. I hope I say this right. Ranvaig. Where are you from, Ranvaig? Gracie, hello. Thank you very much. So yeah, it's quite a new bit of kit, a new place in the premises. This is well, it was it was our COVID classroom, and now we don't really need a COVID classroom, but it's here if we need it. But it's turned into this kind of homage to Kew Gardens. So the idea is that over here on the back third, I'm going to get some chain link fencing, stainless steel chain link fencing, and we'll put the parrots there for somewhere to fly about. We've got lots of tropical plants. It's just a lovely backdrop. It's made us think about hiring this place out as a venue. I don't know if you can see. Oh look, I can detach this camera. I'm using a new camera as well, so there you go. So hoping you can all hear me fine. Hello, Isle Man. There you are. Look, here's a little look at the venue. There we are. So we've got the arena, and then we've got all nice areas down the back where the fish are. So I'm thinking retreats, mindfulness, people wanting to promote their horsemanship. You can fit about 350 people in here with plenty of room for the pizza oven and things like that. So if you're thinking of doing something, who knows, you could be our guinea pig and you might get a special price so that we can work out whether this is worth renting out or not. As a venue, lovely and secluded. We've got no neighbours. You can be quite loud. Plenty of horse facilities. Stables just over there. Or it doesn't have to be horsey related at all. But anyway, so new position. I'm not sure how the Wi-Fi is working. It seems that it's fine. New microphone, new camera. If things go wrong, boom shakala. There we are. Anyway, new microphone means you're going to pick up on me drinking my coffee. Sorry about that. Probably rude. Anyways up. Hello. Yes, welcome to Rider Basics. Rider Confidence Basics. Part 1 was risk perception. Be aware how much your risk perception is a malleable thing. You know, sometimes you can think dogs are the most scary thing in the world, and sometimes you can think they're fine. Sometimes you can think that airplanes are the most scary thing in the world, and sometimes they're fine. I went on holiday to Koh Tao, it was called, I think then, not Koh Samui, Koh Tao, and it was 3 aeroplane journeys. And when you haven't been on an aeroplane for a while, they can seem a little bit more than usual. But then by the time I changed over at Doha, changed over at wherever else we were, got in a little propeller plane, I just wanted to get there. And my risk perception changed. It's malleable, depending on how you think about it. And how you think about it is whether you're thinking about it in reality or whether you're listening to the gossip. If you listen to the gossip of people who are scared of aeroplanes, you'll find yourself being scared of aeroplanes again, without a doubt. And if you listen to the gossip of people who are scared of their horses, you will find yourself being scared of horses. You will find your risk perception changing the more you listen to gossip. And to be honest, this brings me to my second point, which might have come up. I've called this broadcast, either in my head or actually published, Liars and Racists. Because what you find is when people are frightened of their horses, and I'm talking about the people around you, not necessarily yourself, they will, you know, the way that horses go out and they hunt for a spook sometimes because they're bored, sometimes because they've got no direction, sometimes because they're worried, and they're going along looking at every shadow, trying to find something to spook at. Well, people can be the same. So they can pick up on the slightest thing and then produce it as their spook, and they'll say absolutely anything that comes into their little heads. So, for example, you might have seen my rant yesterday. If not, have a look further down the page, because it was quite funny. As soon as I'd got off talking about perception, I'd seen a common comment saying fear runs down the reins, or if we're nervous we pass it to our horse. And I've seen this comment a lot of times. It might be true in some cases, and of course it's not true in a lot of cases. There's a lot of cases where people can be completely nervous, get on a horse, and the horse doesn't give them monkeys. So to blanket say if you are nervous the horse will feel it is, well, true in some cases, not true in others. Even if it's true in some cases, if the horse feels it, does it matter? If the horse reacts to the fact that it feels it. If the horse feels that you're nervous and it doesn't care, well then happy days. If the horse feels that you're nervous and it does care, but it's well trained, then happy days. What we're worried about is that small section of horses that are nervous, and then the rider's nervous, and the actions of the rider transfer through to the horse, and the horse gets worse behaved. Well, we've already cut it down to a small section of the horse populace. But that's not what the saying says. The saying says horses react when you are nervous. This is like, I'll stop in a minute. See, I'm on a rant already. When I set off to do this broadcast, I was like, I'm going to make sure I spend more time reading the comments, making sure that I'm saying hello to everybody, watching out for any questions and answering them. Immediately I'll launch straight into a rant. Let's say hello to some people. Hello everybody. Hello Caroline and Annette and Elizabeth. Fantastic place. Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Hi Karl from the top of a big hill in southwest Wales. Tredegar. I went to a big hill, a big quarry in southwest Wales. Tredegar, where they do loads of filming, and we had to double for the second unit that were out in Tenerife. So they were in Tenerife wearing nothing but leather skirts and sandals. This is for Clash of the Titans. They're out there in Tenerife and we're up this quarry in Wales, and and it was really cold, and we had our leather, and we had these cloaks made of blankets, and of course you couldn't help but get this little blanket around you. And the director was saying, stop wrapping yourself up in your capes. Okay, but anyway, that's my memories of hills in South Wales. Anyway, hello Janine and Fiona. Donna, thank you very much for, and Sue's from Australia, so that's marvellous. That'll be quite late for you, I should think. Anyway, yes, thank you very much. Any questions, put them in. I've forgotten where I was now, see? That's why I mustn't stop and say hello to everybody. I forget where I am. So, if I was to say to you that you're going to sit on we've dug up an unexploded bomb from World War II, and I want you to just sit on it. But this is the type of bomb that only goes off if your heart rate goes up. if you start breathing heavily or shallowly or do anything kind of weird, if you start sweating, the bomb will go off. That's what it feels like to the general populace who are feeling nervous already on their horses, hunting for something to spook at, and some person pops up and says, if you're nervous, the horse is going to react to it. So what that then leads to is people trying to be extremely quiet on the horses, riding relaxed, which is lovely, but not if the horse is wanting leadership. At the moment, when the horse is like asking the question, its little ears are going, oh, is this safe? Is this safe? Someone tell me, is this safe? And the rider, having heard, if you show that, if you are nervous, not even if you show it, if you're nervous, they can smell adrenaline, then you obviously don't want the unexploded bomb to go off, and you're just like, relax, 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 which all makes sense, but takes all the leadership away from the horse. Poor little horse. Right at the moment when it's going, hello, is this all right? Silence, no response at all. So whether or not fear runs up and down the reins, sometimes it might, depending on the horse and the situation. Every horse is different. I'll tell you what does run up and down the reins. Leadership. Leadership runs up and down the reins right at the moment when the horse might want it most. When the horse is like, whoa, hello, is this... Do you like my impression of a horse then? Is this all right? And that's when you want leadership. We did a little film in Oxford recently, and just one of the scenes, because Oxford's the most beautiful filming sets, absolutely gorgeous buildings and this and that, and the horse had to just take the actor. The actor met the actress. The actress got on the back of the horse as well, and they had to walk down this street. And they wanted it to be early morning fog, and they got the fog machine out, and this and that. And we were using Jupiter, who's done a lot of filming, a lot of fog machines, a lot of wind machines, and he's good. He's a very willing horse, super willing. Gets ever so upset if he thinks that he's done it wrong. So you've got to be quite, you've got to be reasonably gentle on him. But he does like clear direction. And of course, from the actor who couldn't really ride, the thing about actors is they put on their CVs they can ride, and they can't. And then they come to me, and then they're like, oh, I've put myself in for this film, and I've got the part, and I've said that I can ride. But anyway, that's by the by. I digress. So of course the actor can't ride, and the director wants to fill the lane full of smoke. So out comes the guy with the smoke machine and fills the place full of smoke, and they're ready for action. The horse has just got to carry the actor down there, and it's only the smallest of asks, but as this smoke billows around, Jupiter goes, is this all right? And got no reply. So he went, is this all right? Everything okay here? And he got no reply because the actor's feeling quite nervous. And so he stops and looks down and goes, is everything okay? But you would do the same, wouldn't you? You'd do the same. It's not that the actor's nervousness went through to the horse and caused it to not want to go straight into the little billowing smoke. Is that the horse didn't get any direction, didn't get any leadership, and so it stepped up. If you get no leadership, step up and be the leader, says Jupiter, which is a lovely sentiment. So when you think that your horse is being unreliable and spooky, it's actually being the complete opposite. It's like, I'm not getting any direction here. I'm going to have to take charge here because I'm not getting any response. This rider is clearly upset about this smoke. Well, of course, the rider's upset because he's on a horse with an actress on the back. So I'm going to take control. So that's what I meant when I said leadership runs down the reins. Now, that horse wouldn't have cared if that rider was nervous, wouldn't have cared if that rider was shaking with fear because it was early in the morning. It wasn't that warm. We're all pretty much shaking. But it's leadership that the horses want then. So when you've got these blanket lies, and there's lots of them. So never go around the back of horses. Rubbish. The phrase is, never go around the back of horses you don't know. And all you need to do is ask the owner, is your horse all right to go around the back of him? Yeah. Well, now you know, and you can happily go around the back of horses. But I've met people who have heard so repeatedly, never go around the back of horses, that I say, do you want to get on? And they look at the back and they're like, oh, and I go, it's all right, none of my horses kick. And they still can't move forward because it goes against what they've been told over and over again. Horses don't like fire. That's a good one. Some of mine, I struggle to say that like is the word, but Castizo certainly likes jumping over fire. He absolutely pulls it. Todo, oh my word, he wrenches the reins out of your hand to turn around and run through the fire. It's part of the exciting part of the show, and they've not got the slight issue at all. Trying to think of some other lies that you hear about horses all the time, that they won't do this and they won't do that, that you can't fake confidence to a horse. Maybe you can, maybe you can't, I don't know, but the horse doesn't care. It just wants leadership. If you might think that you can't fake confidence or you can't fake leadership when you're feeling nervous, but of course you can. If you're in a haunted house, you are going to react differently. No, not a haunted house, because there is no such thing. If you're a little bit woo about the dark, and you're in an old house, you'll react differently on your own or with another adult than you'd react if you were with a child. If you were with a child and it's bedtime, it's like, come on, we've got to go, it's bedtime now. You'd be very brusque and like, come on. You certainly wouldn't spend your time going, did you see that painting? Its eyes followed me round the room, because you turn the child into an utter mess. In that situation, you can be a leader when you're feeling nervous. So it is perfectly possible to continue to ride your horse when you're feeling nervous, when you're feeling a lack of confidence, when you're trembling and ever such. I'm just going to have a little, I see the comments coming. I'll just have a little hello and thank you. Lovely. Let's see. Have I come to Iceland? I would love to go to Iceland. I haven't been invited to Iceland. Yeah. And Judith, photos of Wrath of the Titans up a hill in Wales. I might have. I tell you what, if I find them, I'll put them on my page. Another thing that I've just put on my page today, if you want to scroll down the page and see it, is the old shower video. Shower video is a fantastic piece of information about lying. So if you fall in the shower and break your, well, you can watch the video yourself as me in the shower, fully clothed, in riding gear, having a wash. If you fall in the shower and break your wrist, the reaction from the people around you will be totally different to if you did the same injury falling off a horse. Same injury falling off a horse, and it's all long faces and, oh, you're going to have baggage, you're going to need therapy, how are you going to feel getting on that mare again? And nobody does it with the shower. How are you going to feel touching the frosted door again? It just doesn't happen. Here's another lie that gets bandied about. We were at horse archery competition in Korea, and we were with Kate. I don't know if Kate's going to get on this live or see it. Anyway, she was steaming along, and there was a game called the kabak, which is a symbol on the top, a symbol as in drum symbol, not a sign. Symbol on top of a pole, and you have to get your arrow as you go past, turn around and shoot this thing. Anyway, she did it and she hit it, and it was great. And her horse, it might not even have been on that run, I don't know. Her horse jumped out of the little ropes. The ropes were only on traffic cones and they were quite small. Jumped out over the ropes, stumbled a bit, jumped out of the lane, stumbled a bit, sent her down its neck over its ears and scooted along the ground like a footballer that had just scored a goal. And and she went rolly, 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 and there we are. And yeah. Of course, what do you think happened then? All the riders go running over, make sure she's all right. Of course she was. And out it came. Someone called out, oh, you were lucky. You were lucky. Are you blind or deranged? Because she wasn't unlucky. She fell off. The horse jumped out of the run. Well, you know what? That's not lucky. That's unlucky. How can people fall off to people turn around and go, you were lucky? Of course, what they want to say is you were lucky. It could have been so much worse. Yeah, you could have been dragged. You usually not. Usually, yes, you could have, but you're also lucky because you could have been hit by a meteorite at that particular time. Fact is, most of the time when you fall off your horse, you're fine. Most of the time when you fall off, you don't get dragged. It reminds me of the Ricky Gervais sketch where he's saying about his grandma watching the gorilla that was over the kid in the enclosure. Kid fell into the enclosure. Gorilla was over the kid protecting it, and his grandma was watching the telly, and the gorilla stayed there till the keepers came in and they took the kid away. Happy ending. And Ricky Gervais's grandma went, oh, they were lucky, because usually they gobble them right up. Grandma who knows absolutely nothing. It comes out with these usuallys. I've said before about the story of the girl in the chip shop. So we were at a show with some athletes on horses, 10 of us, each of us with 10 years experience. That's 100 years of extreme horse riding experience, getting some chips between the shows. Girl in the chip van. Do you ride horses? Yeah. Have you had any injuries? No. Have you been riding long? About 10 years. You've been lucky. Just like Ricky Gervais's grandma, not knowing nothing about horses, nothing at all. The girl in the chip shop knows that if you've been riding 10 years and you haven't had an injury, you've been lucky. Utter lie. Made up. Straight away. Make it up. Anything comes out your mouth. Any little thing comes out your mouth. There we are. I put a post on not so long ago about riding downhill. People often have a bit of a fear about riding downhill. You go down a slope and you slow from your canter to your trot, or your trot to your walk, or whatever, because it can be a bit of an issue for some people, I suppose. But anyway, I've heard it a few times. I just wanted to remind people that so much is possible with horses. We do tend to dumb them down, and instead of just learning how to trot downhill, canter downhill, we avoid it. And so I put up that post of Indiana Jones when he was chasing that truck. He ends up with that stunt where he's climbing underneath the truck and he pulls himself along on a rope, which was a classic sketch from a cowboy film where they had horses and it was a variation on that. Real old stunt from a real old film of going under these carriage horses. Anyway, I digress. So I don't know if you remember, but he was up on a cliff. He saw the lorry going along with all the gold in it from the Ark or something, and he galloped down the cliff after the truck and got on with the film. But the point is, he galloped down this cliff, and it was steep. It was really steep. And so I put this on to say, this is what horses are capable of, and that's worth remembering when we're worried about having a little trot down a slope. And the comments underneath, the lies just started. I mean, people saying stuff that simply isn't true. My horse would go head over heels. Well, I suppose it would if you just launched it straight off a cliff, but with a few runs up and down, it wouldn't. And I'm sorry they cannot argue with me, but it just wouldn't. And then just endless things of how I can't do it or my horse can't do it. I'm going to celebrate my horse's ineptitude, or I'm going to celebrate my ineptitude. It's not possible. And it bloody it bloody well is. So what we mustn't do is get caught in this endless lying that things aren't the way they are. And this is why we do it. I must admit, I didn't expect this live to go on quite as long as it is, but obviously it's a very, very valid point, because if you're constantly lying to yourself, saying horses don't like fire, horses don't like people walking behind them, horses don't like people going underneath them, horses don't like having their sheaths touched, horses don't like having their ears touched, horses don't like, horses won't, I can't, my fat arse, lucky if I can mount properly. I have that all the time on my rider confidence courses. On my rider confidence courses, I say, would you like to hop up? Would you like to hop up and have a go at this exercise? And initially, and I understand why, it's through uncomfortableness, through the risk that maybe you can't get on very well and you look stupid to the other people, but whatever the reason why, the amount of people who said, I won't be able to mount up with my fat arse or something like that, and then go up the mountain block 1, 2, 3, foot in the stirrup and sit on the horse. Well, it simply wasn't true what you just said. And this is why we do it. When you've got something coming that you're not happy with, you don't like it, whether it's trotting downhill or whatever, first thing you do is make the emotional response. The emotional response is, boom, I don't fancy that. That's not very good. I talk about filming in my book and this and that. Okay, so if we're going to do this film and we're going to chase after this truck or jump over fire or whatever, don't fancy that. I don't fancy that. The emotional response is, I don't fancy that. When we make decisions as humans, far more than we realise, we make the emotional decision and then we work backwards to make the logical steps from where I'm sat now to the emotional decision that that's a bad idea. And you'll start making those logical steps. It'll be, well, they've got special horses, or they've got special riders, or there's some case where I don't apply because I don't fancy this scary outcome. And we'll make awkward jokes on my fat arse and all that to make people laugh, because it's almost like if we then do make a mess of getting on the horse because you've got stiff hips or something, you've already prepared the ground so that you don't disappoint. But on my page, on my comments, a lot of the jokes, my horse would just fall over, I couldn't do that, my horse couldn't do that, are all misrepresentations of reality. They're all not the case. Did you see our flake advert? That was hilarious. I might post it on again. I haven't posted it for a while. We only did it a few months back. It got a really good response. And of course, everybody's saying my horse wouldn't do that, I couldn't do that. Well, of course it wouldn't without the training. For you, for those that haven't seen it, we're running the horse up the field, take the bridle off, throw the bridle away, take out a flake, eat it. And not me, my wife, who's a lot better looking than I am. There we are. And the comment started about how the horse would stop dead and eat the flake, for example. That was quite common. It's a joke. I get it's a joke, but it wouldn't stop and eat the flake because they don't do that. They do the action that you've shown them. Anyway, the point is that people say anything to say this isn't happening. But when you've had all the jokes endlessly about how you can't do it, how your horse can't do it, how the circumstances mean you can't do it, we had some people again on the rider confidence course endlessly joking that they were going to hurt themselves on this course. And it simply isn't true. It simply isn't true. People saying that if they die, oh, I'll go first, but if I die, yeah, tell my family I love them or something. There's some little joke. And then I catch them, because we want to be confident in our horses. And if we've constantly got little jokes, I said, do you really think you're going to die? I've got a crash mat here with 18 inches of foam. Do you think really that you're going to die? And they'll go, no, 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 because, you know, we've had a fun day. And I said, you have to stop lying about horses. I know. And they're like, it's just a joke. I know it's a joke. I like a joke. I like to lie as much as the next person. But the jokes don't stop. And I know that the jokes about how these horses are going to kill you in some way or other have gone on for the last 30 years. I know how the jokes have gone on in the same little group of friends. I know how the jokes about how horses are going to kill you have been accompanied by serious conversations about how the horse is going to kill you, and how reading articles and sharing articles about how the horse is going to kill you. And whether it's jokey or not, the thrust of the conversation is the same. Horses are going to kill you. Horses are going to kill you. And you got to stop. You got to stop. None of it's true. None of it's true. So when I'm saying you have to stop lying about horses, and then I'm joking. Then I say, look, I get that you're joking, and you'll say your horse will fall head over heels if you trot down a hill or whatever. But it's like racist jokes. It's like, if you're with someone who constantly goes on about this race of people or that race of people and what they do and what this newspaper report said, and you saw this report that, and then accompanies it with loads of racist jokes, well, you get pretty tired of it, and then they don't stop, and they don't stop for 30 years between this group of people, and you're like, I really must stop hanging out with them because this is appalling. So in that situation, I'm not going to laugh along. And when you're lying about horses, I'm not going to laugh along. I'm going to say, when are you going to stop lying and give horses the credit that they have? And don't be a liar, and don't be racist is the word, speciesist. Horses, you know they do this, then you know they do that. We can get ourselves in a right pickle. And if we listen to other people doing it too much, which brings me back to my point yesterday, your perception of how dangerous this race of people, that race of people, this kind of animal, that kind of animal, will get skew-whiffed to one side. It will be inaccurate. I'm going to have a little look at the comments. You can see that I actually mean this. Horses are fantastic. Horses are capable. You're capable. If you're not having a good time, then possibly you're listening to the wrong people. At the time when the horse is asking the question, is this all right? That's the time not to think this horse is waiting to explode. This horse is waiting for leadership. And if you've taken it down a street in Oxford and there's a smoke machine, that might be a step too far. But it won't be a step too far when you've started in the arena just with something little, carrying a flag or having somebody kicking up a football, or other horses in the arena, and little things that the horse can go, is this all right? And you go, yes. Maybe you've pinned a feed bag to the fence and the horse goes, what's that? And you're like, get on, I've got this. And it's like, oh, good. Thank God for that. Someone's got it. And not perpetuating the lies that other people say about horses. That is a pretty basic rider confidence basics part 2. Okay, I'm just going to bob along and have a look. See if I can say hello to anybody. Oh, hello, I've lost my... Gosh, there's a lot of comments. I'm just reading these now. Talk about yourselves. Oh, there's too many. There's too many. Too many comments. Look, I'm not going to sit there and read them and bore you to tears. I'm going to get off, reheat my coffee. I didn't drink much coffee. See, I got ranting. any comments, any questions, anything you'd like to chat about, just drop us a comment, and we'll see if we can get onto it tomorrow. It's been a fantastic conversation, actually. I haven't been much of a conversationalist. I've just ranted. Maybe I'll learn. Okay, catch you later. Thanks for listening. Bye bye.